Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 418 or Season 3 Episode 1. So strap in, this is going to be a hell of a long one. Like, not only is there so much to discuss, we're just coming back. Well actually, yeah, I guess that's just the point, there's so much to discuss. The chapter was super long, and in addition to being super long, all the content was important, so we're going to have to really basically talk about every little thing, because every little thing has some sort of bearing. Something was definitely happening each panel. So, yeah, there's all that. Real quick before I get into talking about the chapter itself, though, I want to bring up that when I was taking notes for it earlier, I noticed this, what, they didn't call it preview service in English, the Fast Pass thing. So you can do that online now, where I think it's basically the preview service, but for English readers. So you can be 3 chapters ahead for like 50 cents a chapter. Comes together to like $23 to $26 a year or something. Again, I didn't do any of that research myself. I'm just basically repeating what I've heard or seen other people saying. But I'm not going to do it. I thought about it, what it meant for the channel and stuff, and kind of came to the conclusion that I should just stick with the normal free English releases, because that's best for the channel. Because I couldn't do videos. I just realized it when I was about to record this. I was like, I couldn't do videos on the ones that hadn't come out yet for free anyway, because I'd kind of be giving stuff away and it'd probably be kind of illegal. So I actually think I legally couldn't do that. So yeah, not only that, but the biggest reason why I was also thinking is because I would basically have 2 options, I guess. I mean, I couldn't just post the video from 3 chapters ahead, because then those of you that are watching that aren't paying to be 3 chapters ahead, you'd have to avoid the channel or just go away to avoid spoilers, and that's no fun or not good. Then there's also the it being illegal stuff, or I would have to just like record my reactions and then wait 3 weeks to post them. Just leave them sitting on my computer for 3 weeks before posting them. And I guess same with the reviews too. And that wouldn't be fun either. And then another thing that came to me was like, and I discuss the chapters a lot with all of you in the comments. So if you were trying to discuss what's going on and I was 3 chapters ahead, that would kind of suck too, because it would create a disconnect between me and all of you. So yeah, because of all that, I've decided, like, if I was just me not doing YouTube ever and I was just reading on my own, yeah, I'd maybe do it. But since I'm doing things for the channel, I possibly can't do it, and even if I could, I don't think it would be the right thing to do for the channel, because it would kind of suck for all of you. So either way, just throwing out that that's a thing that exists now, so I guess be more wary of spoilers, because they're going to be more everywhere. And at the same time, just to let you all know what my schedule's going to be, I'm just sticking to the normal ass English releases. So yeah, let's talk about the actual chapter now. I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I'm sure a few of you would have probably asked what I was going to do about it with the schedule and stuff, because of things changing like that, because that's a kind of big change. But either way, to talk about the chapter itself, I love any kind of episode or chapter or anything. I say it all the time, where we're just jumping around between a bunch of different areas and a bunch of different characters, seeing what all of these different groups are doing. I always love chapters or episodes of anything like that, so this is no different. And another thing I really love about it is, I love in series, it's one of my favorite portions of One Piece, one of my favorite portions of the Walking Dead TV show. I love when characters get all separated for whatever reason, and we have to follow their journey, all reconnecting and coming back together. I love when that happens in stories. That's just a really generally fun thing to watch for me, and they're all picking up new allies or skills along the way. I like when that kind of stuff happens. I find it very fun to watch. So yeah, I enjoy that aspect of it too. But let's start from the beginning. At first, reading through from my live reaction, and I've had some of you mirror this in the comments as well, it's a little bit hard to keep up with how much time is jumping around, but being able to take notes on it and go back and reread like very heavily to take notes on it, that helped out a hell of a lot in organizing things for me. So I thought about organizing things instead of the usual going through the chapter start to finish, instead doing it by chronological order, but that would have been a mess to take notes with. So I'm just going to go through as normal. And that leads us to, we start off with a 1 year later skip. Basically, 2 years have passed. The current time is, 2 years. Did I say 2 days or something? 2 years have passed. So we're going to have things that happen immediately 0 years after last station, things that happened a few months after last station, things that happened 1 year after last station, and things that are happening in the present time 2 years after last station. So we start off, the first scene we get is 1 year after last station, and we see that it's taken 1 year for Wangnan and Miseng to get back to where Kasano and Horyang are. Gosang is telling them about Kasano showing up there, saying he was going to save Horyang and talking about the deal. She also asks about Viol Prince and Akraptor, but Wangnan doesn't answer that yet. I love Wangnan's new outfit, by the way. I think he has a cool look right now. Horyang and Kasano both have longer hair, which is interesting. Kasano's hair was always kind of longer than Horyang's was, but it's even longer now. So I like that it's taken them a year to get there, and that means that they're probably going to have another year to catch back up with the rest of the group so that they can all meet up 2 years later. And I'm really, really excited to see this group, I think, more than any of the others. I really want to see the Wangnan group, and I really want to see Horyang and Kasano teaming up and working together. I think that's going to be really cool to watch. So yeah, I think that's the most interesting group to me, but we only see them that one time at the beginning. And that was 1 year later, so we know that another year has passed since all that happened, so they're probably trying to catch up with everybody else. Now we jump from there to a scene that's happening 2 years after last station, so that's either the present time or very close to the present time, depending on how the 2 years at the end is in relation to those several months. This is either present day or it's close to present day. We're at the 49th floor, and the team that's there carrying Kunagaro Agnes to try to save him by bringing him to Wunyan is Evan guiding Ship, Vespa, Rak, Hatsu. Lorray was in the flashback we see at a different time, so I'm assuming Lorray's there with him too, since we saw him leaving with them. And Amigo Chaz. We haven't seen Amigo Chaz since the workshop battle, so I thought they had just left him behind after Bomb punched his ass into the floor at workshop battle. He looks a lot more like he did in Volume 1 than he did in Workshop Battle. His skin is a darker tone again, because he started off with like spiky red hair and a darker skin tone, and then he had kind of a lighter skin tone and like the slicked over hair in Workshop Battle, and now he's back to the spiky hair and dark skin tone. So yeah, Amigo Chaz has had a journey, and it's weird because he's been off screen this whole time, and now all of a sudden he's back. Was he just hiding somewhere or something this whole time? So yeah, weird, but I like it. He's just carrying Kun's ice block thing around on his back. Wunyan, we learn from these flying people speaking a weird language, is in hiding. We see this beam of light. That's all cool and everything. There's something that I brought up in the live reaction, and some of you brought up in the comments as well, mirroring it. The pocket, we learn in like chapter 1 or 2, the pocket translates all these languages so that they can understand each other, despite coming from all these countries split apart in the different floors of the tower and all that. They can all speak the same language when they're in the center tower using a pocket. So why couldn't they, like, why didn't it translate these people? So yeah, weird, whatever. Maybe it'll actually be explained. Maybe these people don't have their language stored in the pocket, and this is just some really, really out in the boonies place where Wunyan is hiding off the grid. That could totally make sense. So yeah, and we have this cool beam of light, and if that's caused by Wunyan, they might be OP as hell. We already know they're kind of a legendary wave controller-ish type person if they have the ability to melt this ice, but still. But then we jump from there to being immediately 0 years after last station, and this is where the majority of the chapter takes place. So starting from there, we see Madarako is with the Rankers. they were the ones that fought Lee Ro and Quant back at the workshop battle. So I thought that was really cool to just see these random rankers again. From there, he's planning to just plunder the regulars because he's like, hey, we came to save them, but let's just take all their stuff. And then Karaka, White, and Evan-Kel show up, and Madaraku's like, no, nope, never mind. Not the plan anymore. And I like that Karaka's getting this respect. I very much like it how Karaka shows up, Madaraku shits his pants, and is like, oh, sir, I did not expect a reward from you, sir. So, yeah, I don't know. I like the Slayers getting some respect here. Also, because of that, it was actually a really smart move of Waryun to give the ladle to Karaka. And I'm going to talk about the characters that we didn't see this chapter later on, but I think it was really smart to give the ladle to Karaka, because if it was just regulars, Karaka's got rankers with it, or Madaraku's got rankers with him, he could just steal the ladle and not live up to their deal. But with Karaka, a Slayer there, it kind of forces Madaraku's hand. Okay, the ladle's in his hand now. Now I have to comply with their deal. I have to save them and hide them. And also there are some more stipulations that get added onto that. But Slayer, this is a hell of a name. This is a really dumb name, and I love how dumb it is. What was it? Pafamamor Seto has gone to sleep. Now, I don't know if gone to sleep is a literal thing or if it's kind of a going into hiding figurative way of saying things, because they said that most of the Slayers have gone to sleep before, and I don't know if that means literally gone to sleep. I think that might just mean they've gone into hiding. But yeah, they said mostly. We haven't heard from many of the other Slayers, really. So yeah, Pafamamor Seto has gone to sleep, so this is the first time we've heard their name mentioned, and that makes them the 5th or 6th Slayer we know of. We know of Luzlek, White, Karaka, Immort, and Yama, and I think it's just those 5. So Pafamamor would be the 6th, and then if they count Juvial Grace eventually, he would be the 7th of them. So they're getting towards their goal of 11 there. And I forget how many they said were, that Siyu said were empty before, and it might be 4 that are empty. But we'll see, either way. From there, what else happened? Oh yeah, then we have Karaka's bargaining. He decides to add a few stipulations in addition to hiding the regulars. He bargains the ladle. He bargains the ladle for troops to fight against Caliban. Now this is the one thing I'm not sure about how I feel. Yes, it's going to be badass seeing Karaka try to take down Caliban, but at the same time, Karaka's always seemed like a very smart character, doing things sort of by the plan, but this seems very, very emotionally motivated, that he just wants revenge for the embarrassment of him getting in his way and for the disgrace of him attacking his master. It seems very, very emotionally motivated, and not the smartest idea either, because Caliban's got an entire... Like, even if he gets Yama, even if he raises his own troops to go against Caliban, Caliban has an entire OP squadron at his command. Because at the same time, even though we can joke around about some of them being jobbers and all, Chonhee's no joke. Even though, again, compared to Yuri, maybe a jobber, Chonhee's no joke. In addition to that, there's Elpathian, who we can make fun of, but still isn't a joke. Karaka had kind of a perfect storm of OP allies going on at the time, but even raising up armies, it's going to be kind of hard to go against an entire squadron, and even then, what if he just decides to call in another squadron? Or what if he calls in a Dory and she just wipes all of them? So, I don't know, this just seems emotionally motivated, maybe not the smartest of plans, but either way, part of the gathering troops thing is that he wants Madaraku to convince Baylord Yama to help in any way possible, and if he can't convince Yama to help, then no ladle for him. So yeah, things are gonna be kind of hard on Madaraku, I guess. Then we see the random ass regulars react to the warping that happened, because I was like, oh yeah, there's just random ass people on the station this whole time. we finally get the reveal of who those cloaked figures we saw at the beginning of the Last Station arc were, and they were Apple and Michael. Like I said in the live reaction, I had given a few guesses as to who I thought they might be. I was hoping that maybe they'd be Daniel and Akka, maybe they would be Chang and Quattro, or they could even be Elliot and Angel. Then, yeah, one of the guesses was Apple and Michael, Rachel's former teammates, and it turned out to be Apple and Michael. They were supposed to go there to meet Rachel, and they mentioned they have a secret weapon. Now, I said in the live reaction, I was like, oh, is that going to be the third Mad Dog? They just had the second Mad Dog, so maybe it doesn't make sense. And the other Mad Dogs we saw each had an angel with them, and this guy doesn't seem to have one of those. So I think it might not be a Mad Dog. Now, what I'm about to say is a bit of a stretch, but I did see some people saying that the original Korean sound effects used for this guy's growling noise were the same sound effects used for Akryun back in Volume 1. That could be a total coincidence. I don't think we have really a lot of evidence to relate this guy to Akryun, but at the same time, Akryun was kind of a gift given to help Rachel, and this person is also a secret weapon given to help Rachel, and the same sound effect is used. So I don't know. Could this be the return of Akryun? Is this a sort of relative of Akryun? I have no idea. So I guess we'll have to see. But I think it's a bit of a stretch to connect things this early. Next up, Andrasi is trying to get Traveler's password because his phone keeps going off. And she's like, if your phone keeps going off, you're getting information from somebody. Maybe it's Emily, maybe it's Rachel, but I need the password to get into it. So Andrasi's trying to get there, and Anok's like, what does it really matter? Anok's there with them. But, so the thing with that is that Traveler's obviously hiding something, or else he could just tell them the password. And I don't believe his, on the one hand, I believe he was just with Rachel, kind of mostly through happenstance because of him getting taken by Kasano, but at the same time I think a lot of the reason he stayed with them isn't that he was particularly loyal to Rachel, but because he's loyal to Emily and Rachel has control of Emily. So I think that might be why he's trying to protect them. From there, we learned that Woon Yeon left on a trip decades ago. They're the type of person who they left while Haeksong on trips multiple times in the past. But their latest one, leaving decades ago, they haven't made contact again since then. So, yeah, Woon Yeon just sounds like a really cool character. They go on all these trips by themselves or whatever, doing all this cool, mysterious stuff. They're actually a powerful male from the Yeon family, which is known for powerful females. So I don't know. Woon Yeon seems like a pretty cool character. Sachi and Boro then leave to climb separately. I think that's cool because it's really smart. They bring up it's too dangerous for all of them to climb together, and that makes sense because imagine if they, Bomb, Elaine, all these other characters, the group that's going to meet Woon Yeon, if Dan / Jaja / Novik's group returns, if all of their allies traveled together in this one big group, then it would be very, very easy for Zahard to send his army after them. But right now it looks like Bomb is kind of moving under the radar. Sachi and Boro are moving on their own under the radar. Ship's group is moving on his own. So by splitting up like this, they're making it harder for Zahard's army to track them. So it actually makes a lot of sense for them to separate into smaller groups. And I like that we can just follow a bunch of different small groups of Bomb's allies that'll meet up and go on their own way multiple times throughout the story, like they have been doing. So I really do like that. From there, we have Barrow watching over Drac and Irure, who are just sleeping still, and they're probably still maybe doing about the same thing. Then we get some information on what Bomb's training is going to be, and I'll address it real quick before I forget about it or anything. I know some people are going to be kind of upset that Rack didn't train with Evankel as well, and to be honest, I would have, like I said, I would have loved for Rack to train with Evankel, but I'm actually okay with Rack not training with Evankel, because Rack is gone with this group to search for Woon Yeon, and it becomes a situation like what a lot of people were talking about a month or so ago with One Piece, where they were saying, you know, can the other, and this isn't really spoilery for One Piece, I guess. Can the other supernovas really keep up with Luffy? But the argument is Luffy spent 2 years training, but all the others spent 2 years getting actual, like, sort of experience in the New World. So it becomes the same thing here. What's more valuable? Bomb getting 2 years of training, or Rack getting 2 years of actual experience climbing the tower searching for Wu Neon? So at the same time, I'm not that disappointed that Rack isn't getting training, because at the same time, it's not like he's sitting around doing nothing. He's getting actual experience out there climbing the tower. So, yeah. And in addition to that, I love that Bomb's training isn't just him getting any kind of power-up. He's not getting any kind of new thing. He's not getting any kind of special ability or special item. What's happening is that Bomb's not allowed to use the Thorn or not allowed to use Black March, because using either of those would kind of be a crutch to fall back on. And what he needs to do is increase his basic combat skills and his skills with using the orb, which is the main thing that Evankel is there to train. So what he's going to do is go out on battlefields. And when they say battlefields, some of you have been saying maybe they probably don't mean real battlefields, but I think they might, because we learned that Evankel traveled from battlefield to battlefield just fighting against these enemies that were going on. And one thing we know is that in the sort of outer edges of the tower, there are just a bunch of countries out there, people who may or may not be strong enough to climb the tower. I mean, hell, Joaquin went and found himself 2 countries to become god of each and make them slaughter each other. So there are countries out there going to war with each other all over the tower and all these different floors. So if Bomb can go out to battlefields and places with weaker people that don't have people chosen to climb the tower, I think that's something that's cool about Tower of God's world, is we have this whole world out there, and what we're seeing is just the chosen people climbing the tower. But the only people climbing, the regulars, even though we call them regular, they're chosen people. So there's an entire world out there. I think they've said like every floor is the size of the continental US or North America or something like that. So every floor is like a huge, massive area. So there's this whole world out there outside of the chosen ones of just countries of people out there. So Bomb can go and find this war going on between 2 countries and go just wipe out both sides and become stronger that way, like what Evankel did. And each time he clears a battlefield, she says she's going to teach him a new skill, or just teach him something new at that level each time he takes down a battlefield. So I think they might actually be real battlefields. But I like this not just because, well, I guess it's 3 points I can go with. 1, it shows off how cool the just grand scope of the world could be for the series. 2, it relates to the way Evankel did things, the way she got stronger. And 3, it makes it feel like Bomb's not being given anything. Each bit of training he receives, he has to work for. He has to go clear a battlefield for each new thing he's taught. So it feels like he has to earn each thing he's getting. So yeah, all of that was great. From there we have another jump, and this is several months after the last station. We have a captain talking to these 2 other people about how Levy's missing and how they screwed up their job. And I like this mystery here because Levy could still be anywhere trying to screw with things, and even though he's like top tier jobber, there's still a lot we don't know about him. He's still mysterious, but I love the fact that he isn't just his own solo failure self. He's part of a team. He's part of some kind of group, and there's a captain to this group, and then there are 2 other members who were able to beat Danwan Yuan. I'll get into that. But we have the captain talking to these 2 other guys. And the 2 others, I don't think they've actually killed Yeon because she's an important character. But in addition to that reason, they mentioned them being bargaining chips to get at Viol. So they're probably keeping Danwan Yua alive. It just sucks that Danwan Yua took another L. So of these 2 guys, one guy has a snake. I can't tell if the snake is part of his hair or not. He has white hair. He kind of looks like part of the Arya family, but maybe he's not. Maybe I'm just judging him based on the appearance. And the other guy is named Kel, and Kel reminds me a whole hell of a lot of Bottas. I don't know, maybe it's the sort of mechanized suit look he's got going on, or the mask. He just reminds me a lot of Bottas, personally. So yeah, that's all we see there before jumping back to 2 years after last station, which is the present time, and they're at the 52nd floor, so 3 floors higher than where Evan's group is probably at the same time, or at least briefly before this. So 52nd floor, it's called the Dog Shelter. I'm really excited because of that. I think it might be related to Yama and the Bay Road. I really still hope we get a Bay Road arc at some point. We see this guy running away. This girl says she's been trying to thank him for days, and I think she's the one who actually tries to attack him, but and she is listed as intern C rank regular Ja Lulu. No relation to Jaja because she doesn't have the bunny ears, and no relation to Lulu because she's not part of the Dawn tribe, but she's Ja Lulu, and it seems like she's the one that tried to attack the guy. But the guy gets saved by Bomb, and Bomb has his hairstyle like Kunagru Agnes. So, very interesting. I like that Bomb's look has changed up a bit. I don't know. I just like changing the look a little bit to show that time has passed with this time skip. And another point that I want to bring up right at the end is, as important as the characters we saw, I should bring up the importance of the characters we didn't see. We didn't see Haku. He didn't go with Evan's group from what we saw, and we also know that he has a really close relationship with Bomb now. We didn't see Haku. We didn't see Elaine. Elaine has been tasked with protecting Bomb, and I find it hard to believe that she would just be thrown back into the story and then absolutely disappear. So both Haku and Elaine are probably around. Same with Warrion. We didn't see Warrion any this time, but she's Bomb's guide, so she's likely around where he is. And another character we didn't see Verdi. Maybe Verdi is in an Amigo chess situation and she's just hidden like he was somehow, somewhere, but we didn't see Verdi at all, even though we just saw her at the last station. So, yeah, I think it's important to mention who we didn't see. We also didn't see Beta, but Beta's probably with Evan's group in a lighthouse or something, because we know that Kunagru Agnes can't use the Enna core without him, so he's probably hanging around with them. Let's see, anything else? Nope. For the blog, the hiatus is described is pretty much not really a hiatus by Siu, and I totally get why it feels like that. It really was not long enough, and for him to get these preview service chapters out ahead of time, it really probably wasn't much of a break at all for him. So yeah, I know some people might disagree with me on this, but it seems like, actually from your comments and messages, that a lot of you agreed with this. He probably should have taken a longer break. I wish he could have just taken a longer break, because I want him to be totally refreshed and just ready to go, and I don't know, it just seems like the break maybe wasn't long enough. Then he says that he wants kind of a slow and natural story, and I gotta say, I'm sorry, you, I love Tower of God, but this ain't it. Tower of God, not since early Season 2, so years and years and years, not since early Season 2 was this slow and natural feeling. This has been breakneck pace, like ever since Workshop Battle even, maybe. Everything has just been flying super fast. Or at least for Hell Train, it's all been like that. Hell Train has been, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, a hell of a ride. Like, seriously, it has been so fast-paced. At times feeling a little bit rushed, if I'm to be honest. But yeah, this is not a slow and naturally playing out feeling story. It feels like it is being pumped out super, super fast. Which is something I appreciate with it. A week basically never goes by where I'm like, nothing really happened. And that happens occasionally for other series like One Piece or Broken Hero Academia, where I'm like, not much happened this week, whatever. That basically never happens with Tower of God. A friggin' ton happens every week. But at the same time, maybe he should take it a little bit slower. If he could, possibly. Also, we said that this chapter was really busy and had a ton of jumping around and a ton of things going on because the last arc ended really abruptly. So since it ended so abruptly, he had to kind of reorganize. He had to use this chapter to try to organize things a little bit. So yeah, my general thoughts on it. I love jumping around between different characters and locations and times. I love that kind of thing. So all that was great in my opinion. I think it's sad to see Yiwa and Danhua taking more L's, seeing them lose again, just without seeing them get any hype in between. Like every time we see them, they're losing, and we never get to see hype from them in between, and that's kind of sad. I'm really hyped for Wangnin's team. Wangnin's team is the one I'm most interested in seeing in the future chapters. Wu Nian sounds like an awesome character. I can't wait to meet them. I think it's really nice to see the Slayers getting some respect and learning a bunch about them. The mystery is still good with Rachel's team. We don't know what they're doing, because when we saw them, that was 2 years ago. We don't know what they've done in these 2 years. So Rachel's team could be screwing with stuff behind the scenes. Same with Levy. He's been missing, so we don't know what Levy's been messing around with behind the scenes for 2 years. The new allies, I will say, don't look super distinct. Their designs aren't really all that cool. When I was rereading after first reading, I thought that, you know, maybe that's Haku in disguise. He dyed his hair or something. And the girl looks a hell of a lot with her eye and eyebrow shape. She looks a hell of a lot like Elaine. So I was like, maybe that's actually Elaine and Haku in disguise, but that doesn't make much sense. So I have no idea. I guess it's just a new ally for Bomb. They don't look particularly, like, I don't know, distinct or different, though, to tell the truth. From there, yeah, basically, like I said at the beginning, I just have in my notes that I love when characters are all separated and we follow their journey to get back together. So yeah, I guess, let me make some guesses as to where everybody is after 2 years. Rachel and Yura have probably gone on to do whatever they're doing with Gustang. I think we'll see that eventually. But so we've got Evan's team going on, and that probably has Verdi and Beta with them. I figure they're probably with them somehow. I don't know what Drac, Irure, and Barrow have done over the past 2 years though. Did Barrow and Irure go to continue climbing on their own separately, or maybe they were with maybe they were in that ship actually with Sachi and Boro, perhaps. I don't know. Sachi and Boro have been climbing on their own, so I think it'll be cool whenever we get to see them in the future. Sachi's hair was different. So we don't know what's going to happen with Bomb's friends. We don't know what happened with the two that were taken, Danhua and Yiwa. What other groups do we got going on? We haven't seen Dan's group at all, wherever they are. We still haven't seen Elliot, Angel, Chang, and Quattro. Those four still haven't been back since the Hell Train. Then the Slayers have probably gone on to do their own things. Bomb seemingly has new allies, but we didn't see Waryun, Haku, or Elaine, so I wouldn't be surprised at all. Since we also barely saw Bomb after the time skip, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Waryun, Elaine, and Haku were with Bomb himself. Then, yeah, I guess that's about it, really. I like the idea or concept of this captain guy that's out there and Levy's teammates, because they have pretty cool designs. So, Levy had a cool design also. I hate to just constantly shit on him, even though he was, like, such a jobber character. But, yeah, I'm interested in that team and what's going on, because if Levy's part of that team, then they're probably sponsored by Zahard himself. They're probably a really supposedly elite regular unit of people climbing. So that's pretty cool. Then I'd just give it a score of 10 new hairstyles for everyone out of 10. That's the easy way to show time has passed. Just throw new hairstyles on everyone. Also, I didn't bring up Traveler, Anak, and Andrasi. I wonder where they are after 2 years. Maybe Anak and Andrasi carried on with Bomb, or maybe the two of them climbed on their own and dragged Traveler with them. Who knows? So yeah, tons of stuff to learn. I hope for the next few chapters, actually, we do kind of the same thing. for the next few chapters we just sort of jump around with different time periods and different groups as we tie everything back in together. I think that'll be really fun if we have even a good 5 to 10 chapters of jumping around to different time periods and seeing things that happened over those 2 years as everybody's meeting back up. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really into what we got this time, and I'm into the entire idea of this arc because I want to see everybody finally meet back up again. It's going to be a really cool moment. So yeah, I guess that is it. As it usually is, I love whenever this happens. All the group always splits up and meets back together, splits up and meets back together, and we get to see different combinations of the characters. I love that. And so if they did go with them, I'd love to see Bomb, Hockney, and Elaine. Because Bomb and Hockney being together through Floor of Death was one of the better parts of Floor of Death. I love the relationship developing throughout that. So, I guess I'll end the video here. If you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more. Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, then just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.